as I think you know, so far the General Assembly has refused to actually debate any one of our 5 pieces of legislation and has refused to call a vote on a single one of our bills. Tort reform is one of our bills, workers' comp, property tax reform, term limits, and redistricting reform. Those are the 5 bills that we've said can directly help us get a balanced budget long term. So far the General Assembly has refused to call the bills, refused to vote on any of them.
What's your strategy in terms of?
Just a second. And to further clarify where we are, discussions are continuing. They're happening most every day at different levels with different members of staff, myself, with certain legislators. I'm talking to members of the Democratic caucus as well as Republican caucus almost every day. So far, the majority party is refusing to really discuss reforms to any significant degree. What they would like to do is talk about spending levels on certain line items and talk about increasing taxes. I've said I will talk about the tax reform and those line items with you, and we have been, but we need to have reform with that. Otherwise, we'll continue to chase our tail down as we have. We'll end up a lot like the city of Chicago is right now. The state is just a few years behind Chicago in terms of being teetering on the complete financial abyss. We've got to have structural reform. So far they're refused, and I've said to them, look, the choice is pretty clear. We can either negotiate in good faith and get some reforms, and I'm open to compromising, I'm open to taking other things off the table or modifying our proposals. I'm very open to compromise. We need significant change. If you want to refuse any structural reform, then you've got to just go ahead and do your budget and do a tax hike. You've got to choose. But it's going to be your tax hike. You want me to raise taxes, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it with reforms. If you don't want any reforms with it, you do the tax hike. You've got a supermajority. You've proven that you can do things without my support. You've overridden my veto on a number of items. Please go ahead. But you've got to choose. Do your unbalanced budget and then raise taxes to fund it, or work with me and do reforms. It's a choice. They've got to make it. So far, they've refused to make it. They know raising taxes is a terrible idea. They don't want to do it. They want me to do it. I said, okay, I'll do it. But we got to have reforms with it. Otherwise, we'll just damage our economy and chase ourselves further down. We'll have fewer jobs. That's where we're at. They've got to make a choice. And by the way, this is important. They have a constitutional obligation to submit a balanced budget. And the Constitution calls for revenues and expenses to match each other. They have that duty. It's their constitutional obligation. They are not meeting their obligation.
What's your
yes.